Greetings and welcome. Well, today is New Year's of 2016. It's unbelievable that last year is gone already, and boy, did it fly. It flew like crazy. And last year was not so generous to me. Last year I was in the hospital, one, two, three, four, like 5 times I was in the hospital, and I discovered I had a heart problem I didn't know I had. And on the last hospital visit, which was like a month and a half ago, I discovered I had anemia, although I seem to be getting over that now. And my health problems do appear to be improving, and so I'm thankful for that. But I'll tell you, it was really a ride last year that I would not care to go on again. But I suppose that my problems are similar to the problems this world is facing. This world is facing an environmental crisis of massive proportions. And I remind you that environmental crisis is completely avoidable. It's completely avoidable. If they had not suppressed the Tesla technology at the end of the last century, in other words, at the end of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s, Nikola Tesla had inventions that would have given free wireless power to the entire world. But you know, when I believe Westinghouse was his backer, but when Westinghouse found out that there was no money in it, in other words, when he found out that this would be free power distribution for everyone in the world, he said to himself, well, how am I going to make money out of this? See, it was completely selfish thinking. Completely selfish thinking, like all those robber barons back then, like the Rockefellers and all the others at the turn of the century, who were thinking about how they could make just a quick buck. And they didn't care about other people. And they didn't care whether the planet was okay. Oh no, all they cared about was their money. And so, instead of investing in Tesla's technology, they invested in oil and coal and other fossil fuels. And that is where we've been stuck ever since, because every single time an inventor has come who has made a breakthrough discovery of one of these engines that would run on nothing except the power of the universe, every single time they've either bought up that invention, and if the inventor wouldn't sell, he was assassinated. He was assassinated for all his trouble. But most people, they took the several $1,000,000 they were offered and went their merry way thinking they were quite rich. But in actuality, they weren't rich. They were poor, because this exemplified the attitude of humanity down through history, and which culminated in the 20th century. Because in the 20th century, there were 2 world wars, there were Cold Wars, and there were wars everywhere. And only in the 1960s did people start to wake up and realize that they didn't want to support this warmongering machine anymore. But that was crushed. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Just as John F. Kennedy was going to convert away from the Federal Reserve System to United States notes. In other words, the money wouldn't say Federal Reserve notes anymore. It would say United States notes, and it would not be financed by debt to the banksters. Well, just like Abraham Lincoln before him, John F. Kennedy was assassinated for his trouble. Apparently, he was going to do some other things too that I began to discover. But that was one of the main reasons, is that John F. Kennedy was going to switch away from the central banking Federal Reserve and just have the Treasury issue the money. Now just think of the advantages of that. If the U.S. Treasury was issuing the money at no cost to it, no interest, then all this interest bubble in the economy would not be here. And in fact, it is now a fairly well-established fact, my friends, that the banks make money out of nothing. In other words, they give you a check for your mortgage, which you then pay to the seller. They generate a check, but that money comes out of nowhere. They make this money out of nothing, out of thin air, and then lend it to you at interest. Now, I know what the answer of Jesus Christ was to this type of attitude. You know, he made a whip, and he drove those money changers right out of the temple and said, "You have turned the house of God into a den of thieves." That's what Jesus Christ said. Not to bring religion into this, but that was a lesson that was given to humanity over 2,000 years ago, and we haven't learned that lesson. You know, if we would get in harmony with certain natural laws, instead of being against natural laws, instead of working against nature, if we worked with nature, we would discover that our lives would be a lot more pleasant and a lot happier. We would have abundance for all. There wouldn't be world hunger. We would have free, unlimited, free energy for the last 100 years. Just imagine what a difference that would make in the world today. So whenever anybody says there's an environmental crisis, or there's this crisis and that crisis, you need to understand that that crisis is man-made. You need to understand that humanity has created that crisis, and humanity has allowed that to be created by the most evil scum that humanity can produce. And we really can't blame them. It is our fault, ladies and gentlemen, it is our fault that psychopaths are in charge of the world. Because you see, my friends, if we weren't so selfish, if we weren't so evil in our own minds, you see, we attract to us that which is like us. So the leadership of our countries is a reflection of the mental attitude of the people. So humanity had better wake up, and they better wake up real fast. But fortunately, there is an enlightenment coming. Fortunately, there is hope on the horizon. A lot of people are waking up to their own personal responsibility. You see, you have a personal responsibility to cleanse your mind and your attitude of all these problems, of all these wrong thoughts, of the thoughts of competition and strife, and the thoughts of evil that people have every day. You know, you judge somebody because they're a different color than you. You judge somebody because of this. You judge somebody because of that. You gossip about this. You gossip about that. You say, well, he's just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know. But there's an old saying that says, you know, you shouldn't really say any derogatory things about somebody else It's an old Indian saying, until you have walked a mile in their moccasins. We need to give each other a break. We need to give each other the benefit of the doubt. And ladies and gentlemen, we just need to love each other, because that is the way it is. You know, we are all one. Separation is an illusion. Separation is an illusion. And I hope to go into this more in depth in future video casts. Now, I do have some podcasts that I have produced in the past, which are explaining a lot of the things that are wrong with this world. And you can find these podcasts at successquest.info. That's successquest.info. And also at Destiny Worldwide. That's destiny-worldwide.net. Destiny-worldwide.net. And then go to our podcast section. Because if you want plain talk, if you want to know the reasons why things are going wrong, then you should be listening to my podcast. In fact, we're going to be reinvigorating the podcast. We're going to be reigniting this tremendous vehicle where I have more than about 15 minutes or so on YouTube to explain to you what's going on and to explain to you the solutions to your problems and how you can have a life that is happy and brimful with abundance, and you can begin to have that right now. In fact, I'm going to be doing a new series of podcasts on success and the law of attraction. And you won't want to miss any single one of those episodes. I'll be announcing it on a future video when the first new program comes off. And I hope you want to listen to that material, because that really is the hope for humanity. We need to learn and apply the law of attraction. We need to understand that we are all one. We need to understand that every other man, every other woman is our brother and our sister, and we need to start treating them so. Anyway, that's all I have to say today for my New Year's message. So until next time, this is M. John Allen saying goodbye, everybody.